Young Professional podcast. My name is Tanida Mullen, and today on the show we have a certified career coach. Yes, Althea McIntyre is a seasoned career coach. She is a trainer and a speaker who is dedicated to empowering purpose-driven leaders and visionaries to make a radical career change. Some of her clients include executives, entrepreneurs, artists, and organizations from a wide range of industries. Althea is going to talk to us today about everything we need to know when we're looking for hiring a career coach and some of the work that is involved when you decide that you want to go the route and have somebody help you get to the next level in your career. So if you're interested in learning more about how to take your career to the next level with a coach, stay tuned. Althea, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Awesome, great. So, a little bit about the Savvy Young Professional. Our audience is pretty much anybody who has ability to listen to a podcast, but we try to cater to young professionals out there who are just really trying to get that slight edge and get some kind of experience or information that's going to help them in their career, in their business, maybe in their life. And I thought that this interview would be perfect. You are a career coach. And so I think it's kind of timely to talk about that, especially with the rise in job opportunities and people are kind of looking at their careers in a different way. So tell me a little bit about coaching in general. What do people need to think about or expect when they're out trying to find a career coach?
Right. There's three things that someone should look for. Is one, I would look for someone who's professionally trained and certified as a coach. And that certification would, the leading organization for coaching certification is the International Coaching Federation. And so there's a number of schools that train coaches. And so you can just ask a coach, or you can look on their website, are you trained and certified? So that's a key thing. Number two, which can be even more important, is you need to ask yourself, what's the number one goal that I want to achieve in my career business in the next 12 months? And because the coach is a tool to help you achieve it. And you want to then look for a coach who has experience in helping clients achieve those results. And you can ask them. Or again, coaches you should be able to look at the coach's website and they should be able to give you that information. And then three is you want to coach, and this is so important, right? Like, okay, fine, I found coaches who are certified. I've drilled it down to, okay, I want to change careers. I found a number of career coaches who help clients change careers, but where do I go from there? Like I've narrowed down the pool, but I still have so many to choose from. And you want to be able to connect with your coach. Your coach, the coaching relationship is so unique because bottom line, your coach is helping you move past your fears, your self-doubts to achieve your big career dreams and aspirations. So the relationship that coach and client have is like no other. It's not like a mentor. It's not like a spouse. In fact, a lot of my husband clients, I tell them, it's a very close relationship. So they tell me things that they wouldn't even necessarily share with their wife. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's a very unique relationship. So someone you connect to, and because you're going to be talking to them over a long period of time. But they should excite you, but almost like, oh my gosh, I know they're going to challenge me. I'm excited, but I'm a little nervous because I know when I work with that coach, I'm going to, move mountains. I'm going to have some breakthroughs. So those would be the three things I'd say someone should look for.
Okay. So you mentioned that people typically share things with you, very personal things. How do you balance, or how does a person make sure to I guess not confuse what it is that you do. So if I'm someone and I found you, I want to use your services. Is there a certain etiquette that I should have when working with you, or is that just dependent on the actual coach?
That's a great question. Well, so my process in working with a client, because I have to make sure that I'm a good fit for this client and that good client is good fit for me. So I have a complimentary get acquainted conversation. So I have to also know if I can help that client. And for me, what that means is, am I inspired by that client? So I work with high achieving visionaries, people who have, aspired to make a meaningful impact through their work. People who are purpose driven, people who have a high level of integrity and believe in personal ownership. So I have to know and are ready to do the work. Okay. So in this get acquainted conversation that I have, it's me also saying, can I help you? Because there's some clients that I cannot help. Working with me would not be a good investment. I am not the coach for them. Okay. So that's important too. It's not only the client saying, is this coach, a fit for me? The coaches are also and should be saying, can I really help this client, or should I refer them to someone else who would be a better fit for them? And then clients, there's a couple things that clients, if you're going to work with a coach, you should be thinking of like, this is really an investment in my personal growth. So I have to do the work. The coach can't do the work for me. I have to be ready as the client to think differently, to show up differently, to do things outside of my comfort zone. Otherwise, it wouldn't be a good investment for me to work with a coach, because the coaching, we believe we're helping you take you from where you are to where you need to be. So you need to do things differently. So for people who are not ready to be, who are not ready and excited about like, I'm going to be challenged, I'm going to be doing things that I haven't done, and I'm ready to be vulnerable, to be authentic, to tell the truth, to be courageous, to share with my coach. If you're not ready to be in an authentic relationship when you're really, sharing stuff, then coaching would not work for you.
Althea, I think that's a very, very good point that you make, and I appreciate your honesty with that, because it is a service, like a lot of things, and there is that relationship, but there's also money exchanged. I think it's great that you made a point to say that when you're working with someone, you let them know, hey, you got to be ready to do some work. If you're not ready to do work, I'm not even going to work with you. I think that's important. I think that would definitely be, for me personally, it would be something that would really perk my ears up and make me want to work with a person, because it's not hard it is hard to turn down money. It just is hard, as sometimes it's not something that you look at and say, oh, I just really don't want that money. But when you have integrity in what you do, it's a little bit easier to do that. And as a matter of fact, like you said, it's an obligation to make sure that you're not taking on clients who aren't ready to do the work, and more so, they need to be in the mindset to work. So you mentioned we're talking about working, and I know that maybe somebody listening to this show, they might need to understand what that actually means. Tell me some kind of things or some examples maybe of actual work that a person would have to do or be ready to do if they're going to hire a career coach like yourself.
Yeah, I'd love to. And I want to go back to a topic we just said, because I'm going to say that, and then I wanted to share one more thing about that. I want clients to know that coaches, it's a service. And so aspiring career coaches, if you are on the line, aspiring business coaches, executive coaches, you are serving your client, number one. Okay. Number two, when most coaches start out, they're like, I'll work with anybody. I'll work with anyone. You know what? You're going to pay afterwards. Okay, because if you're in a relationship, it's going to be you don't want non-ideal clients for you who show up late to the coaching call, who don't do the work, who you feel like resentment every time before you're meeting with them. They have and they're non-ideal, non-fitting is going to show up in different way. They don't pay on time. They're always canceling. It just you end up paying afterwards, and with like frustration and aggravation, but also you begin to you can lose your confidence. Because then you can begin, especially new coaches, you begin, what's wrong with me? But really, it was never a right fit. Wow. This person was never a right fit. Okay, so you might say, sure, I can work, sure. And you're saying yes and yes to all this because you're on this money. And then they don't produce the results. So then, you're wondering about yourself. So you're not getting great testimonies, or they kind of get mediocre results, but they don't give you a testimony. They're not referring you. So it's actually serves you best and serves the client, because some clients will, prospective clients, they'll get ready, right? They'll say, okay, you know what? I need to get ready to work with them. And then they're going to show up ready to do the work. So that I just wanted to, because I can imagine there might be some aspiring coaches, life coaches, career coaches, executive coaches on the line. That's so, so important to know.
Absolutely. It sounds like it definitely has to be a two-way street in order for any work to actually happen.
Exactly. So in terms of doing the work, right, what does that mean to do the work? So if your coach, again, is going to be listening to what is your big career dreams and aspirations, maybe perhaps you're saying, okay, I want to play I'm ready to make a career change. Okay. I know right now I'm working as an accountant, and I have aspirations to be a coach, but I haven't done anything about it. And, one assignment a coach might give you is saying, okay, I want you to interview 3 coaches. Interview 3, take 3 informational interviews and really interview these coaches and get a better idea of what they do. Just an example. And so you have to go and do that work. I mean, it's kind of really basic. So it's like, you don't want to show up on the call and say, well, I didn't have a chance to find the coaches or schedule the interviews. It's like whatever assignment that the coach has you do, you actually have to take action and do it. Or maybe, that's just an easy example. Or maybe a client is it's coming up. There's a lot of limiting belief. There's a lot of fear. There's a lot of, what if it doesn't work out? What if I make a mistake? What if they don't call me back? That's really the reason why you haven't done it, right? It's not that you haven't had the time, but every time before you're going to send the email or make the phone call, all of a sudden these fears are coming up. And then as a coach, then we know that's what's really blocking you. It's a mindset. And so the homework would be something like, okay, I need you to write some new affirming mindsets and say them 5 times a day, every single day, and act as if they're true. Mm-hmm. So that would be a homework assignment.
So it sounds like you do your research, you find the person that's the right fit, and hopefully they've done their research and they find out that you're the right fit. And then you get to work. You start with the tasks. You start with doing the things that your coach tells you to do. Imagine that there are a lot of people that go and look for a career coach, and they expect to A, get a job, B, be a CEO overnight, C, develop a confidence in 24 hours that will allow them to get a raise. And I know that's not realistic. How do you deal with people that have those expectations, and what do you do to kind of get them in that reality of the situation?
Yeah, and so this always begins in the beginning. That always begins in the beginning. How does that sound? Okay, so again, when you have, for me, in my get acquainted conversations, I'm wanting to hear, what my clients' number one goals are. And so I'm just getting a sense of, what they're looking for. And when they make a decision to work with me, then I give them a new client welcome package. Okay. And after they've completed that, in my coaching practice, we have a 90-minute launch strategy call where we get crystal clear on, I don't have my clients work on more than 3 goals. So my clients work on no more than 3 goals in a year-long program. And 2 of them are, business or career related, and 1 is personal. Personal can be confidence. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then during that session and afterwards, we get very clear on what are the outcomes that you will expect to see to know that we're making progress. And that's when I manage the expectations. And as a coach, you need to manage the expectations and clients right on the upfront, right? Mm-hmm. Because the reality is, how quickly can you achieve it? Some things, it really depends on, for the client, how much work they're willing to put in, how much work they've done beforehand. And as a coach, even when I have clients who may have unrealistic expectations, then you use your great coaching skills and you dive deeper into it. Because the difference between a coach and like a strategist and consultant is coaches are helping clients uncover and discover on their own. It's not, some people think coaches I'm going to tell you do this, and this. That's more of a consultant. That's more of a strategist. For myself as a coach, I mix coaching, mentoring, strategy, and consulting. But truly, when I get to core coaching, it's helping you discover and you having the breakthroughs so you can own it. And sometimes as a coach, you have to say, that's not realistic. I've had clients, it's like, who have, I want to launch my business, I want to change careers, get a promotion, launch my business all within a year. And I say, okay, you're already overwhelmed right now as a mother, as a wife, working full time. You haven't been able to complete the assignments. What are you going to remove in your life to get to achieve those? And what's the cost? And you can just, skilled coaches can just ask the question to have the client stop and really think about, because it's like, okay, so what's the cost? What are you going to remove from your schedule to achieve that? And really, how much time are you, because you're going to need, probably you have another 40 hours in your week, and you're already telling me you're exhausted, you're overwhelmed, you're dragging. So where are you going to find the time to achieve one of those goals? So so it starts in the beginning, and it always a skilled coach can stop and ask the question and then be really direct. That's not realistic based on what you've already shared with me. You can tell I'm pretty strong on this topic, right?
Absolutely.
I'm a high achiever. I too struggle with wanting to, I'm very ambitious. I too struggle with having like these goals that are like monstrous, and they're just not doable based on what I already have on my plate. So I have to, and my clients are high achieving, really ambitious. We love that about ourselves, but we also have to manage it. At what cost? And then we have to decide how do we want to go about experiencing, because this is another great coaching question I ask my clients, like how do you want to feel as you're, achieving your goals? Because right now you're telling me you're tired, you're exhausted, you're dragging, if you, and is that okay for you? Or would you want to experience it a different way? And if so, what would that look like? What would you have to remove from your goal list? Mm-hmm. That always helps a client think, well, wait,
It sounds like you might have to do a little bit of soul searching before you even get with the career coach.
Well, perhaps for some they might. Yeah, I that wouldn't be a bad thing, And I just know with my clients, I help them in that process as well. So you have to be ready to look within. You do have to definitely be ready to look within.
Absolutely. It's getting ready to be the new year. It's the end of 2015 when we're recording this. Matter of fact, it's December 19th. If someone were to listen to this maybe at the top of the year or
Mm.
towards, going into the fresh year, what are some things that you would tell someone who maybe is stuck, or maybe someone who is not sure where they want to go in their career, but they know they need to make a major move? They're unsatisfied. What are a few things that a person would need to think about starting this new year off?
Yeah, this is such a good time. Well, it's always a good time, but the new year, I absolutely love, you know, to really think about wouldn't it be cool if? So it's a wouldn't it be cool if exercise is to tap into the dreamer within you and allow yourself to dream about wouldn't it be cool, if X, Y, and Z was what I was experiencing in my career. So it's just a really great journaling exercise to get into that visionary dreaming place, because we can't achieve our career if we look at what's already on our plate and how we already feel. We'll never get to our dreams and our visions. So we have to start with our dreams and our visions first. We don't and not worry about the how-tos. That's usually how most people get stuck. Like, how's that going to happen? Really spend time. You may go to your favorite cafe, pull out your favorite, pen or pencil or marker, and I'm a pen and paper gal, and journal, and just allow yourself to dream and journal about what you'd love to experience at work and in life in 2015. And that, like, just stop there and really allow yourself to soak that up, is a really good place to start.
Okay.
And yeah, that's what I would tell someone.
So I know that you have some experience. You've been doing this a while, and you actually were one who decided that you wanted to take a different route and you really wanted to start your own business and do this. Tell me, what are some of the things, the don'ts? What are some of those things that you see in maybe young professionals, especially, that you just kind of wish you could walk up and say, do not do this, in
Mm,
reference to their career?
yeah. Okay, so number one, do not, and then, yeah, do not spend time with Debbie Downers and dream killers. Do not. Like, do not, and when I say, sorry, let me repeat that. Do not share your career dreams and your aspirations with dream killers. Do not. Look, and specifically sharing with them, looking for them to affirm you. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Okay? Instead, spend time with people who are living the life that they love, who are doing and just spend time with them, and just be around their energy and share it with them. Share your aspirations with them. Okay? And going back to that, do not look for someone else to affirm what God told you, in terms of He placed in your heart, He gave you this desire. He told you. He probably told you years ago as a child, or you saw it. Do not look for other people to affirm it before you take action. God told you. Instead, start taking action. And it can be in small ways. Do not, and I think this is especially for young, do not compare yourself to others. To compare is to despair. Instead, focus on growing your own garden, filling your own joy cup up. What would be those would be my top, those would be my top three.
Those are really good ones. I definitely, um, I definitely can relate to making sure you're sharing your vision and your dreams with people who can support it. I'm very protective of the things that I want to do and my goals, and I make sure to only share that with people who I know can appreciate that, because it's very easy to get stuck in someone else's what ifs and I wish I would have and things
Oh,
like that. So I connect with that, and I think that especially at a younger age, um, typically when at the younger age in your career, you're so fresh and you're so wide-eyed. Sometimes you do run into people who maybe have been working for 15, 20 years and they don't see that, because that for them in their brain, which is not true, but for them their time has passed and they missed out on opportunities, so they're
mhm.
not going to be able to connect with that fresh new perspective you have. And it's not because they're older, it's because they don't see it. They
And they're
feel
stuck.
like they're stuck. They're stuck. I've noticed, I can tell you, I can spot a stuck person a mile away, and there's nothing wrong with that. um but you can't let that get you down. You can't let that be the thing that's going to determine what your next move is going to be. So I think that's a big tip, and I appreciate you sharing that, because people need to hear that. I think people, you know when I say be protective, I mean, if you're going to share something with someone and they don't respect it, that's okay. You don't have to defend your dreams, and you don't have to keep them inside. But when we're talking about protecting, it's more or less, don't let someone come in and bash it, to damage it, to push it to the side. You can put it out there and let it be pretty and put your dreams on display, but don't let anybody get to the point where they want to damage that, because it can really make it hard to move on. So I appreciate that fresh honesty. People need to hear that, and I thank you, Althea, for saying
You're
that.
welcome. And I love how how you recapped it. That's so true. It's so, it's, and you will, and so instead, yeah, when you share with the right people, it will flourish, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're kind of wrapping up a little bit, but before we do, I want to ask you one question, and it's kind of it allows you to look back a little bit. And my question is, if you knew in the beginning of your journey or your career, your business, what you know right now today, what would you have done different or told yourself?
Mm. Is it one thing, or, I mean, because I've got,
What's the most important thing? The one thing that you would say,
uh,
Althea from 10 years ago, this is what you need
mm.
to know.
Oh my gosh. Oh yeah. So I would say, gosh, there's a couple things. Right. I think right now is like, I really, oh gosh, I'm stumbling over, because there's a couple. What comes out is like, go bigger and bolder and be more authentic. And those are a couple of things, and just go for it. Go bigger, be bolder, and be more authentic.
Go big, go bold, and be more authentic. I like that. I'm gonna to follow up with that question. I'll ask you one more.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything bad or wrong with being bold, being authentic, and going bigger? Like, is there a time where you go big and it's just not ever worth it?
Well, there's always retrospect. First of all, you are a phenomenal interviewer. I
Thank
mean,
you.
that's just like, let me just say that. I'm like, wow. I'm in, this is serious. This is good. So is there anything wrong with it? There's nothing wrong with it. Now, I will say, for big dreamers, big visionaries, like you and I, we have to know that we are a little bit ahead, right? So what I'm saying is, there's times that, before I would say, like, this is my idea, and people would look at me like, okay, you're a little off. And then I would start to question it, but it was just that I was ahead of my peer group. And then I would look back, and this is what I can say. And I would look back, and it'd be like 5 or 6 years later, and I'm like, I shared that. That's what I was saying. And people were looking at me crazy, and now they're saying it.
Mm.
So but at that time I thought there must be something wrong with me. Let me down it down. Like, let me make it more fit in. Right? So no, there's nothing wrong with it, but you have to be comfortable being in your own skin and being okay that you're a little off and you're a little, quote unquote off, like ahead of your time, a little different. And probably I'm saying is, Althea, go find more of those people who will either affirm, like, 10 years ago, you go out and find those people who will affirm you. Now it's a lot easier now with social media and to find people, but before it wasn't. When I started, it wasn't easy. Like, I didn't know anyone when I was my early 20s. It's like, I don't fit. This is not a fit for me. I didn't know anyone who had changed their careers. I mean, I went searching, but I couldn't find people easily. It was hard to find people who were passionate about what they're doing. Now it's a lot easier. So no, there's never, I would say, hindsight, there's never anything wrong with going bolder and being authentic. You have to be comfortable with the space in between with your vision and it becoming a reality.
Absolutely. I asked you that because I knew the answer to that. But I know that some people need to hear that, from a couple people before they understand that there's nothing wrong with going big. Sometimes it might not go how you thought it was in your head, but the likelihood of you regretting to making that big move is slim, because eventually it'll pan out. Eventually it will be worth it. So I definitely think that's a good point to kind of wrap this up. But before we do, I want you to tell everybody where they can find you if they want to learn more about you. I know you've been in the media quite a few times. If they need to connect with you, where can we find you?
Yeah. They can go to my website, thebestcareerforme.com, and they can learn more about me there. They can also, when they're at my website, I have a free guide. It's a 7-step strategic guide to transform their career. So if they want to change their career, launch a business, or increase their income doing meaningful work, they definitely want to sign up for that. And I love hanging out. That's where we met, on Twitter. So they can find me at all the social media sites, but if I really love hanging out on Twitter, so they can find me there as well.
Absolutely, and I will make sure to put the links that Althea mentioned in the show notes to make it really easy for you to find her. And thank you so much again for coming on the Savvy Young Professional.
You are so welcome. I'm so happy to be here.
You can find all the links and resources mentioned in this podcast in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this podcast, head over to thesavvyYP.com for more career